Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining me. My name is Christine Tappert, and tonight I'd like to share how you can safely use essential oils with some very important family members, your dogs and cats. First, I'd like to start out with a little bit about myself. I've cared for animals all my life, from my family's pets to my very first job, which was walking a neighbor's dog for 25 cents a day. My very first quote real job was at a local pet store, and then later on when I was in college I was the assistant manager at a store called Pet Pros, where I worked directly with breeders to help them find the best nutrition and supplies for their particular breeds of dogs and cats. And I really got to learn an awful lot about all of the different varieties that there are and how different animals can really do better with different things. Over the years, pets have continued to be a very important part of my life, and in time I became a mom, started to raise my family, and I made the discovery of pure top quality doTERRA essential oils. I quickly realized how effective they were, both for my family and for myself, and then I learned that they could be used safely around and even in some cases on pets. And having dogs and cats myself, I knew I needed to learn more about how I could benefit them as well. I've studied the subject ever since. Now, almost 7 years later, I'm excited to share what I've learned with you, and I look forward to helping you in any way I can to learning about the safe usage of essential oils with our pets. Before I get started, though, I want to share a quick disclaimer with you, just so that everybody is very aware, and it's very clear that I'm not a veterinarian. I do have a great deal of experience working personally with animals, but not professionally. And the statements in this presentation have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration, and any products I mention aren't intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent disease. The information I'll give you is for informational purposes only and certainly does not replace any medical advice given to you by a veterinarian. If an animal or a human for that matter that you know has a medical health condition, I encourage you to please contact a healthcare professional. To start off, I'd love to share some of my inspiration for using my oils, and who doesn't love an excuse to share pictures of their pets. I'm going to share a few of my beloved pets. This is Hazel. She is 8 years old now. She is a Staffordshire Bull Terrier, and every day she gets a spray of diluted lemongrass and frankincense on her back feet, which helps to support her ligaments, since she has stubby little bulldog legs and a drive to run and run and run. She overdoes it quite easily, and so I give her that for extra support for her ligaments and muscles in her back end. And also frequently she uses a little bit of lavender or serenity blend that helps to calm her down when there are loud noises, especially if there's thunder or fireworks in our neighborhood, because she can get very anxious when there are frightening sounds. Recently I've also added to her supports a blend of solid coconut oil with a little turmeric essential oil, some of our deep blue polyphenol complex capsules emptied in there, and some copaiba and frankincense. This is because she has just been diagnosed with a degenerative spine condition, and I really want to work on keeping her inflammatory response as healthy and appropriate as possible, and to help to keep her as comfortable as I can. And I noticed that now that I'm using the blend in the solid coconut oil, not only does she find it a delicious treat twice a day, but it really has changed her attitude, and I can just tell that she feels a whole lot better from me using it. So Hazel gets quite a few oils. This is Silas. He is 7 now, and he was diagnosed with liver issues a few years ago. To help him with that, for a few years I've been alternating a spray of diluted zendocrine or diluted blend of sweet fennel and copaiba. And I spray that on his food daily. And since I've been using that, his liver numbers are back within normal range. And so we're definitely keeping an eye on that with blood work on a regular basis when he goes into his annual exam for his vet. But everyone has been really impressed with how his elevated numbers have come back down within the normal range. And we'll just keep an eye on that as he gets older so that we can be sure that his needs are being met. But so far, so great. I also would like to share a picture of Solcito. He does not use oils. He's a very young, very healthy cat, and we haven't found any reason at all, except for I do feel that he benefits from when I diffuse calming oils when the weather does get a little crazy. He tends to be a little on the anxious side, and loud noises frighten him as well. So he benefits just from the aromatic use of calming oils. Generally lavender or serenity blend is what I use. Healthy cats rarely need oils, so luckily he's very healthy. This is Rufus. Rufus is 8 years old, and unfortunately he's terribly allergic to fleas. If he happens to get a little bite in the summertime, he just will lick his fur and scratch it until it comes out in clumps, giving him big bald patches. So that used to be a real problem, but now if I notice him licking his fur, usually on his back end by his tail, I know immediately to put on a blend that I've made that has some diluted lavender, cedarwood, and lemongrass. And that really soothes his skin so that he stops irritating it and doesn't pull his fur out. So it's really nice that we have this big change. I can just watch for signs that there's something going on with him, apply the oils, and in no time he's forgotten about the issue, and we don't have the long-term problem with the skin irritation and the loss of fur. So that's just been great. And finally, this is Lunita. This is when we first met her almost 4 years ago when we were on a trip to Costa Rica. She was a feral kitten born in a school playground, and somehow in her short life she sustained some really terrible burns on the foot pads of 3 of her feet. Here's a picture here of what we were dealing with when my daughter told me that this kitten needed help. And so we took her home and took her back to our house, used some well-diluted lavender on her feet, some TerraShield and some lemongrass to repel the fleas that she was just covered with, and a little geranium to repel the ticks that seemed to be really interested in her as well. Of course, we safely removed them with tweezers, carefully to be sure that the head was removed, and then treated the bites with a little bit of lavender and then geranium as a tick repellent. Well diluting everything because she was a very young kitten. We figure she was probably about 4 months old. She was very small from questionable nutrition, but with her teeth being in the state they were, the veterinarian thought that she was about 4 months old. We decided after caring for her issues that we just were in love, and we decided to bring her home to the States with us for a new life as a suburban house cat. That was our idea at least, but she still definitely retains some of her wildness. Here she is playing with the toy. She's a fascinating mixture of crazy and sweet, and she was born at a school that was mostly vegetarian, so she still loves to eat leafy greens of any kind. Romaine is one of her favorites. And most of the time, though, we can find her enjoying her life, lounging, and being the object of our affections. She's pretty fun. So those are my babies. Glad I could share. Thanks for that. And I do use oils almost every day on all of them. for one reason or another. The cats, of course, less so, and I'll explain why shortly. But I do want to be very clear to let you know that I don't use just any oils on my cats for very good reason. I can only recommend doTERRA essential oils. I will not use any brand, and I will not advise anyone to use any other brand. After the reports that I've seen on adulterations on the market, almost every other brand on the market is adulterated in one way or another, so it's very difficult to know exactly what's in the bottle and the consistency of the company bottle to bottle. That's why it's just wonderful that I can count on doTERRA to give me a completely pure product that is consistently the same chemically from batch to batch. And they do have all of their chemical fingerprint reports available online at a website called sourcetoyou.com. You can take the code from the bottom of any doTERRA bottle, enter it, and you can find out exactly the chemical composition of each oil and know that it is exactly the same within the normal ranges for that plant for every single batch. And I just really love that we can be really confident with what we're using. And that is why I do not recommend any other brand. If you're in doubt or you're needing a diagnosis, I always encourage you to go to your veterinarian, talk to them about your use of essential oils, and make sure that it's a good fit so that you can care for your pet together. I have changed vets several times because they were not comfortable with the oil usage I had, and this was several years ago. That's really changed now. Veterinarians are hearing more and more about doTERRA oils and how they are different than ones that they've been advised against. Again, for the reasons I mentioned, labeling inconsistencies, essential or other natural and synthetic compounds that can be added. So, so just talk to them. We have science that we can share. There's all kinds of scientific studies that are now available. So if you need help convincing your veterinarian, there are plenty of resources. Reach out to a doTERRA member that may have suggested that you watch this video and ask them for help, or you can always reach out directly to me and ask for resources or information you can share. But sometimes it's just important to change to a vet that's really going to listen and be open to alternative methods. So I have actually changed vets a couple times and have found a really great fit with the current vet that I'm using. She is just absolutely ecstatic with the results she sees. And when I go in, I can share honestly with her exactly what I'm doing and why and the results I'm getting. And then she can witness them herself and then look into it more to help other pets. So it's pretty exciting, the changes that are happening now in the veterinary world, because they're becoming more common to use oils, but also to know the difference between essential oils you can purchase in stores and other brands versus doTERRA. This picture here, I wanted to share from Convention 2018 when they announced the Veterinary Advisory Board. At that time it was coming soon, but now it is fully put together and has some amazing veterinarians from all over North America, including Dr. Rourke, who is a vet from Austin, Texas. She owns a mobile vet service, mixed animal practice, and she's been using doTERRA essential oils for over 5 years in her practice. Dr. Frezzo, who has a New Jersey practice. It's an animal hospital that she owns. She uses doTERRA oils every day and has co-authored a book called Spoil Your Pet. I highly recommend that book. Also, Dr. Janice Fisher from Nova Scotia. She has a complementary medicine veterinary practice. Dr. McCaskill from Louisiana. He is a veterinarian and a specialist in veterinary acupuncture. He's been using essential oils for 10 years in his integrative medicine clinic. And Dr. Yamamoto, who is an Oklahoma State graduate and small animal vet with a practice just north of Los Angeles. And the last few years, she's been incorporating oils into her practice regularly. So all of these veterinarians are working together with doTERRA to come out with suggestions and to help increase the education and awareness for dõTERRA members for using oils safely around, and in some cases even on their pets. Also, of course, you can reach out to me anytime, because I do enjoy helping people to learn how to use the oil safely and researching any topics about which I'm unsure. It's really just a fascinating thing to learn about dogs and cats and some other animals as well. So feel free to reach out if you have questions. So one thing that you can do for your home to make it less toxic for your animals is to change out your toxic cleaning products and other sorts of laundry products, household products that you use that are containing synthetic fragrance and all kinds of chemicals. This is a picture of my sink underneath, and over time I have really overhauled and literally given away or thrown out everything containing toxins, so that I know that my crazy little cat Lunita can play under there if she wants to, and anything she gets into or anything I use that could come into contact with her little foot pads that can absorb the chemicals, or in through her olfactory system, if she tastes or smells anything I've been using for cleaning, I know that it's safe for her and the other pets. So I highly recommend that you consider some of the products like our On Guard Cleaner Concentrate, our foaming hand wash. You can make your own counter sprays. There are DIY recipes for just about everything that you can use to naturally clean your home and reduce toxins there. So again, if you're looking for recipes for those, reach out to whoever suggested this video to you, or feel free to contact me. I'm always happy to share recipes that I've been using for years, and they work very well and they're very safe for pets. I love this quote at the bottom from Dr. McCaskill from our vet board. He says that dõTERRA oils are definitely safer than chemically laden products. And I could not agree more. It's a really important way that you can look at changing over your home and making it safer for your pets. So this is a picture of Hazel. As you can see, she does not like fireworks. And really, for her, this was the very first reason I tried essential oils, was to see if it would help to calm her. And I really do love that after applying the essential oil to her, what I do is I put a little bit of the diluted blend in my hands. Lavender, Serenity, or Balance works great for this. I put a little bit of the essential oil in my hands, a few drops of fractionated coconut oil, or if I've pre-diluted some, I usually have it on my counter labeled what's inside the bottle. Put a little bit in my hands, and I rub it together really well, almost like I would if I was moisturizing my own hands, so that the oil part is gone, but the fragrance lingers. And with that fragrance, I just pet right down her spine, all the way down to the tip of her tail, and I kind of pull the tail in an upward direction, just reminding her that this is something that we're to be happy about. Talking nice words, telling her how wonderful she is, so that I'm giving her some good positive energy, and then finishing with a gentle massage on her little ears. And that way she has a little fragrance cloud that's being diffused from her fur that helps her aromatically. The oils aren't actually really getting down through her fur to her skin, but aromatically they're going in through her nose, that very sensitive nose, and she's able to benefit from those compounds. This is a good time for me to share a few safety tips. I think that it's really important to use common sense. Now, remember that these are very, very potent, so you want to always go easy, especially at first. You can always add more, you can always repeat, but particularly with older or sick pets, you want to even dilute extra, use less, and then consider using more as you need to, because these are so potent you really only need very little. In general, we avoid using these oils on puppies and kittens under 12 weeks old. There can be exceptions to that, but it's important that you work together with a veterinarian or someone with a great deal of experience before using them on any animals younger. Always check with your vet before using essential oils if your pet is epileptic or prone to seizures of any kind, has a bleeding disorder, or is pregnant or nursing. Important to note a list of oils not to be used on pets with seizures. Really quickly, I'll mention basil, rosemary, wintergreen, camphor, eucalyptus, fennel, tea tree, tansy oil. Blue tansy is fine, but any other kind of tansy is not. Thuja, thujone, dõTERRA's Soothing Blend, which is the deep blue, or the Protective Blend, which is On Guard, because they contain some of these ingredients that can be problematic for pets with seizures. So very careful with that. If you have a pet with a significant health condition, it always is a good idea to check with your vet first. If you're using any dermal patch medications, or within a week of using topical flea treatment, it's generally a good idea to avoid using any essential oils topically. This is because the activity of the chemical compounds in the essential oils can interact in a bad way that can drive more of the dermal patch or topically applied medications into your pet. And so they're really not designed for use together. It's an either or thing when you're using those kinds of medications. Also, watch for unusual behavior every time you try a new oil. Every pet's unique, and if any irritation occurs, dilute extra over the top. Sneezing or shaking their head a little bit is normal, but watch for rare cases of excessive drooling, stumbling, breathing difficulties. Of course, if that happens, you want to go to see your vet right away. I've not seen it happen, but when oils are improperly used or in a very unusual, rare circumstance, it could happen. You want to really be sure that you have veterinary care for anything like that. One final safety tip, watch out for any products containing xylitol. dõTERRA does have several, including anything that's in a beadlet form, our toothpaste, our chewing gum, PBSS Junior. Those products you want to be very, very careful to keep out of reach of dogs, because dogs find the sweetener xylitol extremely toxic, even in very small amounts. So don't use any of those products on your dog, and if you have them in your home, be sure that you have them out of reach from your dog so that you don't have any emergencies from accidental xylitol poisoning. So essential oils can be a first line of defense when they need a little bit of emotional reassurance. They're wonderful, just like Hazel when she gets her lavender for soothing and calming when she's fearful from loud noises. Also, you can use them for first aid, cuts and scratches, upset stomach or nausea, insect bites. I use essential oils for hot spots or any foot chewing, those kinds of things. And I also use the oils while I'm monitoring my pet's behavior and deciding if anything is bad enough to make a vet appointment, or maybe while I'm waiting for that vet appointment, because you can always make the appointment and then cancel it if you don't need it. So often it's just while I'm deciding if it's bad enough, or after I've made the appointment and I'm hoping that I don't actually have to go. And there have been lots of veterinary appointments I've canceled. I actually have a habit of writing down approximately how much I thought it would have cost if I had gone in for a consultation, but because the redness is going down, the foot chewing has stopped, other symptoms have stopped, and I feel like they're on the road to wellness, and I've been able to cancel that appointment. I like to keep a note on my calendar, and at the end of the year, I'll add up how much money I've saved and look at my essential oil expenses. And in every case, for every year, my veterinary savings have been far more than my essential oils usage. So that's just been really wonderful and a great thing to share with other people who really are looking at the expense of essential oils versus value. And I definitely see a ton of value for my family and actually some financial savings as well. I love just going in for healthy checkups and to share with my vets the successes that I've had with oils so that I didn't have to come in and didn't have to get their advice because everything worked its way out and my animals are really healthy. Another time that you can use essential oils is in cooperation with your vet when you're supporting specific health conditions. This is a photo of my buddy Mako. He was suffering from cancer. He was an older greyhound, a good friend of mine's dog, and the vet that she was working with felt that it was a wonderful idea to use frankincense topically, aromatically in a diffuser. And Mako loved it so much that he would just snuggle up right next to the vapor. So my friend would just put it on the ground so that he could have it nice and close. And this is him just sticking his tongue out, licking the air because he just loved that frankincense so much and found it so supportive. And really, we feel that it helped to make him much more comfortable in his final months of life while he was enjoying his wonderful home before he passed a couple years ago. Whenever you're using a diffuser for pets, you want to be sure to use a minimum number of drops of oil. Usually 3 to 5 drops of oil is plenty. You want to avoid really strong fragrance. If it's really strong to you, it's really strong for your pet, so you don't need as much of that particular oil. You can always take it out and put in a little bit less. It's really important to make sure your pet can leave the room if they choose to, so have a door ajar a little bit, and then that way if they want to stay in, that's fine, but if they feel they want to leave, that they're able to. This is particularly important with cats and small dogs. I generally avoid oils from the toxic list when I'm in small rooms, but in a big open room with lots of escape areas where the pet isn't going to be very close to the diffuser, it's fine to diffuse any of the doTERRA oils, but again, I don't recommend using any other oils because it's hard to know what kinds of chemical compounds are going to get out and get into the air and then up into their systems. So be sure to use only doTERRA oils because it is a very gentle delivery system for safe oils, but you really want to only be using ones that you know are safe. An alternative, if you don't have a diffuser and you want to have aromatic use for the oils, which is the best way to support our pets' emotions, and a great way to help our pets when we're gone from the house and we want a little bit of extra support for them. You can apply them to cotton balls or tissues. You can wear it on your skin or clothing and have yourself be a diffuser if you're just near them. Or again, you can use that fragrance cloud method that I suggested before, where you apply the oils first to your hands and then gently to their fur and to their ears finally. So it's very important when you're selecting an oil to use for your pets. There's a few things to keep in mind. Number one, what do you have on hand? You can only use what you have. The oils are very versatile, so sometimes for the same sorts of conditions, you can use several different oils. You have several different options. For example, if there's a skin condition, and you're talking about a dog, well, if you have lavender, that's wonderful. But if you don't have lavender, you could select geranium, you could select Roman chamomile, you could select cedarwood. There are many different oils that can be helpful for that. So just look at what you actually have on hand. Double check every time the list that I'll be showing you shortly of essential oils that are safe to use and essential oils that you should avoid. Until you have absolute positivity that an oil is safe and it's labeled in a bottle with your pet's name on it, I think it's really important whenever you're pulling out an oil from your collection just to double check. Just look visually that it's on the list I know that I do, even though I'm really familiar with which ones are good or not. And then, of course, finally, go easy. You can always add more. You can always reapply. It's always best to start out with the least amount possible and then slowly work up to more, because you'll find that you probably don't need to. A little tiny bit is so potent and powerful. And after you've been using a blend for a while and you've gotten good results, you might find that using it in a more diluted way or using it a little bit less frequently still gives you those great benefits as the body started to balance out its natural systems. So don't worry about backing off just a little bit, and just pay attention to how your pet's body responds to that, because I know that in many cases, something I've used regularly, I find that I can use it in a much more diluted way if I want to continue it on an ongoing basis. And this chart is really important. This helps with diluting. It's important to dilute mostly for weight, but also for overall health and age. So an older dog, you're going to dilute like it's a little bit smaller. A very sick dog, you're going to also dilute like it's a little bit smaller. So you can see here on the left, it gives you the size of the cat or dog, and then the middle column is approximate weight, and then the right column shows the dilution rate. And the right way to read this would be for an adult cat, you would dilute 1 drop of essential oil in 50 to 100 drops of carrier oil. And my favorite carrier oil to use is fractionated coconut oil, because it's very light and non-greasy, and it doesn't have an attractive fragrance that would cause extra licking or issues if the pet decides to lick it and gets it internally. You know, if you use a solid coconut oil, that can be a great carrier, but it's pretty greasy and heavy, and it's got a really attractive fragrance to be licked off. So fractionated coconut oil really is the best one. You can use olive oil or any other edible vegetable oil, but again, my favorite for many reasons is fractionated coconut oil. Do keep in mind that 100 drops is approximately a teaspoon, and 300 drops is approximately 1 tablespoon. So if you're making up quantities, that's a good way to do that. So for a cat, you would put 1 drop in a half a teaspoon to a full teaspoon of carrier oil. For a kitten, you would be diluting 1 drop in 1 to 2 tablespoons of carrier oil, such as fractionated coconut oil. And then the dog dilutions are for the different sizes, ranging from 1 drop in a half a teaspoon to a teaspoon, or for giant dogs, 1 drop to 15 drops of carrier oil. You can dilute the essential oil in the carrier first, and then if you're wanting to do a light spray, you can take that pre-diluted essential oil, carrier oil combination, and then add that to a spray bottle with water. You never want to dilute with water, because water and oil don't mix, so it won't dilute the oil. But if you dilute first using this chart with a liquid carrier oil, and then add that to a water spray bottle, that can be a really good way to have a light spray over a larger area, and it still comes out gentle and diluted for the animal's weight. So keep that in mind if you're covering a larger area, or you want to be really quick and gentle with it, like on the bottom of a foot pad, and it just makes it so that you don't have greasy footprints all over, because that water just is a much lighter application method. Let's see here. A couple more quick safety tips I'd like to add. You can, if needed, dilute over the top with pure carrier if there's ever any sign of irritation on the skin. Just adding more of the carrier without any essential oils with it can help to reduce that irritation. Avoid use of oils around the eyes, nose, and other sensitive areas. Don't ever drip oils down into the ear canal. You can gently wipe out the ear, but you don't want them actually dripping down into the ears. And to keep oils out of the eyes, it's important not to apply to the ends of the tips of long-eared dogs, because if they shake their head, those tips can end up getting in the eyes. If oil ever does get in the eyes, you'll notice, because there will be some irritation and blinking, because the tears produced by eyes actually can cause burning because they drive the oils in. It doesn't damage the eyes, but it certainly doesn't feel comfortable. So immediately you're going to want to use some milk, or if you have carrier oil on hand, you can wipe it gently over the eyelid, over the lashes. But milk works really well to immediately bind to the essential oils and immediately soothe any discomfort. So that's the quickest way, is to use milk. Not skim milk, but a milk with fat in it, because the fat actually is what binds to the oils. If you're considering using essential oils internally, you want to keep in mind that this is really best for dogs only. Generally, it's not recommended for cats. You want to dilute a drop or less in an empty gel capsule, and you can buy the veggie caps from doTERRA, or you can get the empty gel capsules from a health food store or online. And then fill the rest of the capsule up with olive oil. When I say a drop or less, you can put a drop in and then fill it up for a larger dog. But if you're talking about a smaller breed dog, really less than a drop is fine. So you can put a teaspoon of carrier oil in a dish, add a drop of essential oil, and then use that pre-diluted blend to fill the capsule. That way you'll have plenty left over that still has the essential oil in it, and just a little bit of the essential oil compounds together, diluted with the carrier oil, are going to end up in the capsule. For a very small dog, you would want to dilute even more in the bowl before you put it into the veggie capsule. So if you need any help with that, feel free to reach out. I'm always happy to advise people with ways that they can use the oils internally safely. Mixing them into solid coconut oil is another idea, because that does make regular use of oils far more palatable. Most dogs will just lick that right off of a spoon or from a bowl, even if it has essential oils in it. You can also use solid coconut oil to support teeth and gums. It's naturally antibiotic, antibacterial, so it's a really good way to support teeth and gums. And you can add a little bit of baking soda if you want to have that rough, abrasive quality of the baking soda added for toothbrushing, because that can help to get plaque off of teeth. One last way to use essential oils internally is to pre-dilute a blend if your pet has tummy trouble. Particularly if your dog has tummy trouble, you can put a little bit of diluted either peppermint, or you can do, my personal favorite for tummy trouble is Digest Zen. A little bit of that diluted blend on your finger, and then just swipe it in their mouth. And that's a really quick way to get right to their digestive system. You can also massage some topically that's been pre-diluted over their tummy to give them help when they have some significant tummy troubles. And I'm going to show you a picture here of my pet kit. I highly recommend that you put together a pet kit so that you have your oils for your pets already. A few tips: use unique bottles. I really like to use the ones with white caps, or if I don't have the white caps on that tell me that they're extra diluted for pet use, then I make sure that it says dog or the pet's name on the bottle, so that it's always clear to me what's in it and who it's for. I think, let's see, keeping them in a separate storage area completely is a good idea. Don't keep them with the rest of the oils that we'd use for humans, because you don't want to get confused when you grab something and use it on your pets. I keep all my little bottles in this little black container so that I know that all my pets' oils are together. If you have dogs of different sizes, generally I will dilute something I'll use for both of them for the smallest pet, And usually that will work great on the larger pets as well. Like for example, the dog ear spray that I have in the back row there. That is diluted for Hazel's size and weight, but I also use it for Silas and it works great for him. Again, spray bottles, dropper bottles, little vials, all different ways to apply the essential oils for different purposes. So find what works for you, or if you have questions, would like suggestions, again, reach out to whoever's helping you with essential oils. With kitties, be careful using the spray bottles because cats generally don't like spray anything. So be very quick and deliberate. Generally, one spray is all you're going to get, and so be careful and quick when you're using them with cats. And then one other tip, you can always spray it on your clean finger and then pat it on quickly so you're not actually spraying directly, so they have that sensation on their skin at the same time as that spray sound that they tend to not like. So there's a little tip for being more sneaky with cats. I have a list here I'd love to share with you. How are we doing for time? Okay, wrapping it up. This is most gentle essential oils for dogs. Very good list. Maybe take a screenshot of this so that you can keep it on hand. The ones in the top category are the most gentle, and then the ones in the yellow bottom category are also very gentle, perfectly safe, but keep in mind that they are a little bit stronger, and so sometimes I'll dilute these a little bit more. If there's a range for dilution, then I'll dilute these more toward the heavier dilution. But the ones in the top list are generally my go-tos because they are the safest, most gentle, most easy to use on a regular ongoing basis. If you have any questions about the blend names, we've got grounding blend, which is balance, detoxification blend, which is endocrine, anti-aging blend, which is immortelle. Down here we have digestive blend, which is digest zen. Protective blend is our on guard blend. Outdoor blend, which is Terra Shield. Restful blend is Serenity. And encouraging blend, which is, let's see, encouraging blend. I think that's Elevation. I should look that up. You might want to check that one. Encouraging blend. Maybe it's Motivate. I need to check on that. So I apologize that I don't know what that one is, but a quick Google search will give you that information right away. Here's some oils to avoid using with all dogs and the reasons why. Wintergreen, Melaleuca or tea tree, birch, Douglas fir, also white fir. And out of an abundance of caution, I would avoid using Siberian fir as well. Thyme, cinnamon, clove, oregano, soothing blend because that contains wintergreen, and purifying blend because it contains Melaleuca, as well as renewing and uplifting blends. And again, do a search for the generic names to transfer over to the dõTERRA names. Definitely, again, dogs prone to seizures. I gave you a more extensive list earlier, but here it's important. Most important is basil, eucalyptus, fennel, rosemary, and the On Guard Protective Blend. Again, this is a good one to take a screenshot of. Cats are incredibly sensitive. They lack a very important enzyme that properly breaks down chemicals found in essential oils, including these chemicals that are listed. So as a result, it is very important to only use oils from this list. Some new oils were just released by dõTERRA, and all the research isn't in yet on which ones and how we can use them for dogs and cats. So they're not on this list, but I will be updating because I'm putting together an ebook that I'll have available before the end of the year, and I will have all of the new products added to that ebook, as well as the information in this presentation and a little more. My most favorite essential oils for cats: frankincense, helichrysum, also the rose touch is amazing. and all these oils listed are all just fine, completely safe, but keep in mind if you're using them from the lower, if you choose oils from the lower also recommended category, just keep in mind you might want to dilute them a little more, especially if you're using them on an ongoing long-term basis. Rather than one drop, or rather than 2 drops in a teaspoon, you might want to use 3 drops in 2 teaspoons, just to make it just a little more diluted. Or at first use the regular dilution, and then for an ongoing basis, you can always just add a little bit more of the fractionated coconut oil to your little bottle that had the blend in it, and that way you know you're just diluting just a little bit more, but you still have those compounds to help your pets. Here's another important list. Definitely extremely toxic to cats. Melaleuca for cats and dogs, definitely one to avoid. Wintergreen as well. All citrus oils are particularly toxic to cats only, not dogs, just cats. This list is just for cats. Be sure to take a picture of it and keep it on hand so that you're certain never to use any of these oils. And this list as well. Some conditions do make it acceptable to use these, but you want to definitely be certain first, and a vet could work with you when using these on a very short-term basis for specific conditions, and that would be only if something from the more gentle list isn't working and you need to switch it up. So you would only be using these essential oils for cats, at least, if they were being very closely monitored and on a very short-term basis. It's another good one to have a photo of. So that's pretty much it. I do want to mention to you that whoever told you about this video is a wonderful resource for you so that you can get doTERRA essential oils into your home. They're not sold in stores. They're sold through independent wellness advocates like myself. So reach out to the person who told you about this and talk to them about the best way to get started. I highly recommend a wholesale customer account for anyone interested in using doTERRA essential oils, because it is the best way to get the most information, the most connection to our wonderfully supportive community, and the very best prices on essential oils, 25% off all retail products. And every month there are wonderful promotions. There are ways to get free products. There are ways to get extra loyalty points back for people who want to purchase the oils regularly, although there is no obligation to purchase anything you don't want at any time when you're not ready. Talk to the person who told you about this video, or you can always comment or reach out to me if you don't have someone helping you already. Because that's what we all love to do, help people to find what works best for them and their families, and provide as many resources and as much education as is wanted. A great way to get started that I recommend is our Aroma Touch Diffused Kit, which whenever you purchase a kit, the wholesale customer membership is free to you for a year. The reason I recommend that kit for pet owners is because it comes with a diffuser and it comes with fractionated coconut oil. Those two things are so important and so helpful for pet owners. That kit also comes with 8 amazing essential oils, not all of which are the best for pets, especially cats, but it does have lavender, which is wonderful for cats and dogs, and balance, which is another option that works really well for cats and dogs. But the other essential oils are so wonderful for humans that I think it's really the best choice. And it also gives you that all-important diffuser and fractionated coconut oil and the membership for free. If you choose instead to just select certain oils that you want to get started with, or maybe you just want to get started with a couple oils, a diffuser, and of course some fractionated coconut oil for diluting, that's always an option, but there is a $35 membership fee the first time you sign up. At the end of a year, you're given the option to renew. There's no automatic charge, but if you decide you want to order after that year is up, there's a $25 renewal fee but doTERRA always gives you a bottle of peppermint oil that has a retail value higher than $25 as a thank you gift for your renewal. So you would pay to get started, that $35 membership fee, and you could choose fantastic oils like frankincense and lavender. Those are my top two for dog and cat owners. Also very important to have on hand, because bugs can always be a problem, our TerraShield blend and cedarwood are amazing. Digest Zen is fantastic for tummy support and digestive support. Helichrysum is wonderful for supporting any injuries, also for a quick stop for bleeding issues. If you need bleeding to stop, Helichrysum can be particularly helpful. Also, geranium is another one of my top recommendations. It's antifungal, it's wonderful for skin support, and it's great in my ear cleaner, which is important for dogs and cats. Of course, very well diluted geranium and frankincense together makes a wonderful, gentle ear support and antifungal support in the ears. Geranium also repels ticks, so that's also a wonderful insect repellent support. Other optional oils you can consider for your pet kit: basil essential oil, balance, and serenity, particularly for dogs. Those are really helpful oils. So I just want to encourage you to share any questions you have in the comment section below. If you have any questions at all about how to get oils in your home, contact whomever introduced you, talk to them about your options for getting a wholesale customer account. And thank you so much for taking the time to listen to my presentation today. I hope that you found it helpful.